When I founded Osprey in 1974, I certainly didn't know how to build packs very well, but I looked around me, and I guess what bothered me the most was that they seemed to be not paying attention to the fact that what they were building fit on a human form and had to work with the human form. The anatomical design wasn't really there. Most of the lines were straight. There were no natural curves, no organic feel to it. So a harness was like a super straight. And I saw that as a challenge. I was at the time studying art, so I was quite interested in fact, I was drawing naked people in drawing classes at college, and that was a natural shift to start designing for the human body. The curvatures, the beautiful shapes, all very inspiring. Well, there are so many other backpack brands out there, and why are we better? I think, unlike most of the competition, we only focus on backpacks. We've been doing that for 41 years now, and we've learned a lot, and we are still doing it. The mistakes we've made in the past, we've corrected. We constantly improve the designs. And the other thing that we do is we carefully follow the manufacturing all the way through the process. We have a large group of people in the country of origin in Vietnam that make sure that when we come up with a design, it's not simply a sketch that's handed to a factory who will look at it and go, gee, this is like X brand, and I'll just take something from X brand over here and kind of bring it through the funnel where everything looks the same. We insist on building it our way. We build our prototypes all the way to the end, as far as we can possibly take them, and then when we give them to the factories, we make sure that they follow as closely as they possibly can. There's always a little bit of transition, but we also continue on following the quality. It doesn't end. The vision behind Atmos has been gaining steam over a number of years. I saw a backpack way back in there, probably in the 70s, and it was a similar concept, not quite the same, but the hip belt was suspended across the frame. And I think that pack didn't even have a belt buckle. When you put it on, it closed. It really didn't work, but it was such a cool concept that I've kind of pursued that idea ever since then. And we've already done a lot of experimentation and development with products like the Atmos, where the load is evenly transmitted across the mesh, but we wanted to bring that concept into the harness and the hip belt so that it was spread over your entire body when you put it on. And I'm pretty happy with what we came out with. We'll get it better each time. There were many difficulties on the AG. Sewing a backpack with a tension back panel is very difficult, because you have to know how and where to stretch the fabric when you sew it. You have to understand the properties of the fabric, because some fabrics are more static than others, and then how that tension works. Every time you build it initially, it's different. So it's controlling the consistency of that process was very difficult, and there were a number of times when we gave up. We said, forget it, we'll try this next year. But we were so excited about the concept that we couldn't stop, so we kept at it. Typically we have a 6-month to a year development cycle for building product. I think the AG, you could say, started back when we first developed the Atmos. I think that was back around 2004 or so. And this is really a growth out of that initial thinking, and it's been a long process. I think over the last year we've probably built maybe 60 different prototypes and rejected each one and moved on. That's how we do things, and we build it over and over again. Sometimes we come full circle and realize that we knew what we were doing at the beginning. But that's okay, because you've tried a lot of ideas. So we have a huge library of ideas that we've rejected that we know will come in handy in the future, and that's a good backup. We think the AG technology is a good fit for our new POCO system. The reason being that when we've tested the AG on people, we find that it's more forgiving. It tends to fit people more easily because there's less structure up against your body. It's more forgiving and it's easier to adjust. The range of fit is simpler, so putting it on the Poco has been great. With the fit on the fly on the hip belt, the ability for the Poco to go from, say, mom to dad and the variances in the form, it's wonderful for that. Plus you get the ventilation story. We tried to soften up the AG system a bit for that reason, so that it would cover every possible fit and range. It's true, you can only develop a product to become lighter and lighter up to a point where it can't go any lighter unless it starts floating away from you, and then you are no longer carrying the backpack and maybe we aren't needed anymore. I think there will always be the ability to engineer a fit so it's more comfortable. The efficiency of the carry will get better. The anatomic and ergonomic designs will improve. There are some really fascinating technologies coming out of digital production that will show up, that will make what we're doing now look Stone Age, I think. The way you can build fabrics with 3D printing and load transition nodes so that it can move in any direction but effectively transfer the load and still remain super light. It doesn't necessarily have to get lighter. There's always a balance between lightweight and efficiency, and you can actually have a pack that carries better, that weighs more, but it saves you the energy of the carry. So the frontier will keep on going. It's not just about weight. I've developed so many products over the years, it's hard for me to determine which one was the best. I tend to get bored and tired of what I've developed. It's what pushes me to the next project, and I tend to think that what I've just finished is not good enough. But there's a nice little honeymoon period after you finish a project where you're happy with it. And so I would have to say it's probably this pack right here is the best. It's the most recent. I'm proud of having stuck with this for so many years. There's many times when it's been very frustrating, but many times when it's been extremely rewarding, and I believe in evolution of ideas and of the people that work for you to grow together and to figure out how to make things better. And I'm proud that we've hung in there for so long. And we look at our competition, who often seem to be in disarray, and it's a nice feeling to feel that continuity of our years of working on making backpacks. I think the direction for backpacks in the next 10 years is likely going to go into more digitally based production systems. Right now we've all been living in the bubble of Asian production. How long will that go on, where labor is low cost and it requires a lot of people to build a product? And the technology these days is advancing so rapidly. The ability to not only digitally design product but to output it digitally, for example with high-speed 3D printing, injection molding, that's the new frontier. The ability to custom fit people with digital technology. It could become more personal in one sense, in that it will be designed to fit people better on a personal basis, but it may require less labor and be more robotic and more. But I'm excited about that. I see a pretty interesting frontier that's going to keep me enthused for a while.